You're watching WXII 12.
Tonight on WXII 12 News at 10 o'clock, a Black Lives Matter co-founder comes to the Triad and talks to us about one of the movement's biggest discussions.
Plus, made for Hollywood, the new details about the multi-million-dollar gold heist off the Carolina coast.
And Ben Carson is out of the race, but he's not done courting voters.
Covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are, this is WXII 12 News at 10.
Yes, because I gave my word that I would.
I will support whoever is the Republican nominee for president.
I'll support the Republican nominee.
Mr. Trump, yes or no?
I'll support Donald if he's the Republican nominee.
In a Republican debate full of name-calling, harsh attacks, and even crude comments, it's some of the final statements from each candidate that has everyone talking today.
Last night in Detroit, Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz fought hard to point out what they believe are Donald Trump's flaws and contradictions.
Cruz said a win for Trump would be a loss for the Republican Party against Hillary Clinton, and Marco Rubio has repeatedly called Donald Trump a con artist. But in the final moments, they all said they would back Trump if he became the Republican nominee.
Well, today a lot of people were wondering how they could say that after openly criticizing Trump so much. Rubio said it's a tough choice.
And that's the quandary we find ourselves in, because the alternative is Hillary Clinton, who from a policy perspective, I believe is completely unqualified and would be bad for the country.
He did say he thought a Trump nomination would split the Republican Party.
If no Republican candidate secures the 1,237 delegates needed in the primary season, the race could head to a brokered convention.
Ted Cruz does not think that is the path to keep Trump from the nomination. He called it a pipe dream from the Washington establishment.
In my view, a brokered convention ain't going to happen. And if the Washington deal makers tried to steal the nomination from the people, I think it would be a disaster.
I'm going to be so presidential.
Right now, Donald Trump has 285 delegates after Super Tuesday. Trump took a bit of a political gamble today and opted out of a major event. Trump decided at the last minute not to attend the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, a gathering of conservative activists in Maryland. Instead, his campaign says he's going to attend rallies in Kansas and Florida to drum up more supporters for the upcoming primaries. And according to his website, Trump will be in Concord, North Carolina on Monday for a campaign event.
At today's CPAC event, Ben Carson said the numbers didn't add up, and he's suspending his presidential campaign.
I realized that it simply wasn't going to happen, and if that's the case, then I didn't want to interfere with the process.
But he is not done courting voters. My Faith Votes has named the retired neurosurgeon as its national chairman. The group calls on Christians to vote in the general election. Carson says the group is planning a national media campaign to get Christians to the polls.
On the Democratic side, there is a big debate set for this weekend in a location that's made national headlines this year. The Democrats are heading to Flint, Michigan for a CNN debate on Sunday night. The city of Flint's been dealing with a toxic water problem since 2014, when the city's water supply was switched over to the Flint River in a cost-cutting measure. And in Flint, the first residential lead pipe was removed today. Crews are out digging up the lead service lines and replacing them with copper ones. This is part of the mayor's initiative to rid the city of some of its toxic water problems. The switch from the Detroit water system over to the Flint River is what caused lead from the aging pipes to seep into the water supply.
In local politics, the 31st State Senate District primary is a big one for the Republican candidates because no Democrats are running for the position, and no matter what, a win will secure a seat for the GOP. You'll see Joyce Krolik as well as challengers Dempsey Brewer and Peter Antonazzi on the ballot. The 31st District represents Forsyth and Yadkin counties. Brewer has run against Krolik before and came up short. He says the state is moving too fast on fracking and too many unanswered questions. Now, this is Antonazzi's first run for political office. He supports Medicaid expansion, even though Republicans in Raleigh have refused to consider it.
There's a lot of confusion on one local college campus about the second primary this year. That's the one for Congress. Students in North Carolina A&T are facing an odd situation. The new congressional maps divide their campus into two different districts. Laurel Street divides the campus, so now one part of the A&T campus is in District 6, the other in District 13. Students who register with their campus address could end up facing different races than their friends just a few dorms over.
We're just we're flustered.
It's not done for the benefit of that community.
Judges could choose to order the maps redrawn again, but a political analyst that we spoke to thinks the new lines are going to stay mostly the same for this election.
Well, there was a chill in the air, but overall today was a better weather day than days past. Let's send it over now to Chief Meteorologist Lainey Pope in the Weather Center with a look at the cold start to the weekend ahead and what will follow. Lainey?
You're definitely going to need a heavier coat if you're out there. We also have a chance of rain coming at you this weekend, so stay tuned for details on that.
New tonight at 10 o'clock, one of the co-founders of the Black Lives Matter movement held a public forum this evening at the Urban League in Winston-Salem. Alicia Garza has been in the triad all week, leading the Vincent Harding Seminar on Nonviolent Social Change at Wake Forest University. And tonight, she talked to the Urban League.
And much of what we talked about this week was that, of course, all lives matter, but we live in a world where there are some lives that matter more than others. And so if we want to get to a world where all lives matter, we have to pay attention to the ones that don't.
Garza also visited back in September for a Wake Forest panel about the Confederate flag. The Bible Way Temple in Raleigh was packed with people today paying their respects for Akil Dinkins. The 24-year-old was fatally shot on Monday by a Raleigh police officer. Today, his mother was joined by hundreds of others for his funeral. Police say that Dinkins was struggling with that police officer and tried to pull a gun out of his waistband when he was shot. That shooting is still under investigation.
The governor says he still wants the General Assembly to wait until April 25th to consider Charlotte's new transgender bathroom ordinance. Governor Pat McCrory says that he thinks the new ordinance poses public safety issues and acknowledges lawmakers may look to reconvene earlier to try to block the law. The ordinance goes into effect April 1st. The House seems to have enough support for the special session, and Senate Leader Phil Berger is calling it an option. A special session costs about $42,000 a day. State environmental regulators say they are considering more fines against the nation's largest electric company. Regulators say Duke Energy is violating state law with wastewater leaks at 12 out of the 14 coal ash power plants. The company says it's doing all the state asked to address the seeps by cleaning out the coal ash pits.
Well, we now have full detail about a gold truck heist that took place 1 year ago in Wilson County, North Carolina. I'm telling you, it is a tale made for a movie. Adalberto Perez was arrested this week in Florida for that crime, but two accomplices are still on the run. FBI says it was a year in the making. The FBI says that Perez attached a GPS to the bottom of the truck and then rigged a pepper spray device in the cab. Still not clear how he got access to the truck. Report goes on to say that the three men followed that truck to Wilson County on Interstate 95, then activated the pepper spray. They zip-tied the drivers and left them in the woods. Then they quickly stole $4.8 million in gold bars from the truck. FBI used Perez's phone GPS to link him with the same route as the truck that day. There is still a $25,000 reward for information leading to the other accomplices.
Aunt Viv stopped by the Triad tonight. Daphne Maxwell Reid played Aunt Vivian on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There she is. Tonight, she was at the Delta Arts Center in Winston-Salem for a private event. Tomorrow, she's going to speak at the Founders Day observance event for the Winston-Salem alumni chapter of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
There was an unexpected update today in a story that captured the nation's attention more than 2 decades ago. Los Angeles police say they're investigating a knife that was supposedly found a while ago at the former home of O.J. Simpson. He was acquitted of murder charges in the 1994 stabbing deaths of his ex-wife Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman. The murder weapon in the case remained a mystery. Investigators say that an officer now tells them that he was given that knife 12 years ago by a construction worker, saying that it was found on the Simpson property. Authorities are skeptical about the knife right now and when and how it was found. Under the Constitution, O.J. Simpson cannot be retried for those murders, regardless of the knife's connection to the case. He's currently in prison on a separate conviction.
Did Scott Kelly's year in space open the door for a mission to Mars? We'll tell you why Scott Kelly believes a trip to the red planet could be in the near future and what space has done to his body.
Plus, local researchers are hoping to revolutionize medicine. How a 3D printer plus human tissue could be the next giant leap in organ transplants.
How that cool air is settling in, at least in the mornings. We're talking about real cold conditions, but I've got a warm up in the forecast. I'll let you know when 60s and 70s return coming up.
I think we know enough, and I think we're close enough that if we made the choice, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to set a goal, we're going to set a time, yeah, I think we can do it.
NASA astronaut Scott Kelly believes that a mission to Mars could be in the near future.
That's right. Kelly just returned from nearly a year in space, and his body is being tested to see what long space travel does to a person. Kelly actually grew about 2 inches in space, but says that's going to go away soon with gravity. He is also experiencing increased muscle fatigue compared to past trips.
Kelly says adjusting space was actually easier than adjusting back to Earth. He says he tried to throw something on a table this week and he missed. We have seen 3D printing do some pretty incredible things so far.
But researchers at Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center are also hoping to use it to revolutionize the way that people receive organ transplants. These researchers are trying to use a person's own cells to create new tissue. Now, so far, they've been able to print cartilage, bone, and even muscle, things that took much more time before.
One of the challenges with this field has been that we have been creating tissues by hand. And so the printer is really a way to drive the cost down.
Now the pieces are being created using human cells and dissolving plastic, so they're not going to be rejected from the patient's body. So far, animal trials have been successful.
The lone survivor of last year's TV news murders is back doing what she loves.
Vicki Gardner is back at the Smith Mountain Lake Chamber of Commerce. She's working on this year's 50th anniversary celebration. You'll remember in August, Gardner and 2 WDBJ employees were shot during a live TV interview.
Reporter Allison Parker and photojournalist Adam Ward died, as did the former WDBJ employee who police say carried out the shooting. Gardner says a display in her office of kind words from others keeps her going.
It all comes together to speak the language of recovery, of community, of love, of prayers, of all of the things that came our way to take a tragedy and turn it into something triumphant. And that's my reminder every day when I come in here. And it can't help but make you smile.
Indeed. Gardner says that she's looking to create a community center with all of the donations that she received after the shooting. Joey Feek, half of the country duo Joey and Rory, has died of cancer. Joey and her husband found success on the show Can You Duet and went on to have a top 40 hit. In 2014, she was diagnosed with cervical cancer that spread despite surgery. Tonight, her husband posted that she finally got her dream of going to heaven. She was 40 years old.
And we wanted to say another big thank you to everybody who stopped by and donated to our food drive today. We partnered up with Second Harvest Food Bank and Food Lion to raise donations for the hungry in our community. The ACC mascots were there as well. Because of all that effort, Second Harvest has 1,000 pounds of additional food tonight and close to $1,500 worth of donations. That all adds up to more than 11,000 meals for our hungry neighbors. So thanks, everybody.
Incredible. Love that. Fun to see everybody out there. It's nice to see the community coming out, even on a chilly day like today. If you're going to get out over the weekend, it's going to warm up some. We're going to see temps that should be close to 60 by the end of the weekend. It's cold out there right now. 61 degrees by Sunday afternoon. But check out these numbers. A stretch of 70s into next week.
Some children in Iowa are practicing their reading skills while also helping out an attentive audience. Check them out. Animal experts say that a child's voice helps cats come out of their shell. In an effort to help, children are reading to cats to help them make them more adoptable. The children also get to practice their reading without any fear of anyone criticizing their grammar.
All right, this next story will have you maybe a little more willing to use the bathroom on an airplane. I don't know. Boeing is developing self-cleaning bathrooms for passenger jets. Boeing says it's going to use a UV light that'll kill more than 99% of germs after each use. The project is still in the testing phases, though, right now. Scientists from Russia and South Korea are working together to try to bring back a part of the Ice Age. The scientists are using the remains of an Ice Age cave lion cub that was found in Russia. They're hoping that the living tissue from the ice-preserved lion will be enough to recreate the extinct creature. Russian scientists are trying to do the same thing with a woolly mammoth. They apparently have not seen Jurassic Park.
Yes, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. But I do want to see a woolly mammoth just walking around. That'd be cool. All right, we have NASCAR basketball, and it will be awesome. I guarantee it. You know why? Because it's Friday.
You're watching WXII 12 Sports.
It was near 80 degrees at Las Vegas Motor Speedway today. 80. Qualifying, downright balmy. The Cup Series is in its third week of the season, and tonight we found out who will lead the field to green. Vegas, baby, Vegas. You have to say it if you do a Vegas story. And for the second straight week, Kurt Busch grabbed the pole position for Sunday's race. Get this, Vegas is Kurt's hometown. So where else would you want to start in first? He hit a speed of 196.328 miles per hour. And so here are a few of the first rows on Sunday's Cup race in Vegas. Kurt and Joey Logano will be on the front row. Behind them, Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski. The Triad's own Austin Dillon will be joined by his old teammate Kevin Harvick. Both of them used to live in the Triad. Harvick moved away, so we still love Austin Dillon. Eric Almirola and Casey Kane behind them, and in the fifth row, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Dale Earnhardt Jr. will start in 20th. And our local college conference basketball tournaments kicked off today for men's basketball. High Point Panthers without this young man, John Brown. He's out for the whole tournament. They were taking on Longwood in the Big South quarterfinals, and check this out. The dish to Miles Bowman Jr. He gets the and one. High Point led by 3 midway through the second half, and then Lorenzo Cugini, he led, man, he put him up by 8 at least. He didn't lead the whole thing. The whole thing was led by this guy, Miles Bowman. Also led by Haitian McIntyre. The two of them had 19 points each and High Point advances. Check out the final, 89-78. And up in Baltimore, Maryland, the mighty Elon Phoenix started their conference tournament against Drexel. So with less than 30 seconds left in this one, Drexel is down by 1, and the freshman for the Dragons, Terrell Allen, he gets the floater to drop. Drexel takes a 1-point lead, so Elon trying for a buzzer beater, 12 seconds left. Luke Eddy, their leading scorer, hits the front end, and Drexel gets the rebound and goes on to win and run out the clock. Phoenix loses this one, 57-56. Guys, I am burying my head in the sand.
Oh, no. Heartbreaker.
It's okay.
No, it's not.
Get him next time.
Alma mater.
Yeah.
All right, Laney with the last look at weather.
Our forecast for tomorrow has temperatures that are in the 50s again. We'll see a few clouds around with rain moving in tomorrow night.
All right, that's all for WXII 12 News at 10. I'm Cameron Kent.
And I'm Talitha Vickers. See you all at 11.